Anthony Joshua makes no claim to being the new Muhammad Ali, but he does fancy that he is catching up with the greatest when it comes to predicting the rounds in which he knocks out his opponents. "This ain't no jive, Cooper falls in 5, said Ali with psychic precision when he came to London to beat Araneri. I usually know the time, Parker fades in 8 or 9, says Joshua as he divines the outcome of Saturday night's World Heavyweight title unification battle with Kiwi Joe in Cardiff. Ali was something else, but I'm usually close to the point, adds our holder of the WBA, IBF and EBO titles as he prepares for his attempt to claim Joseph Parker's WBO belt. By way of evidence he cites his preceding championship defense. "A lot of people thought I would stop Carlos Tim in 2 or 3 rounds. I said it would take me 10 and I was spot on." There speaks a natural-born fighter who is immersed in the history of the hardest game. His next comparison is with the legend he conquered in his first unification battle for Vladimir Klitschko. The effort of coming back from defeat by Tyson Fury in an attempt to find redemption by beating Joshua was a self-confessed obsession which he fell short of gratifying. For Joshua, going on from that epic night to beat the rest of the best heavyweights has become what he describes as an addiction. One which is driving him down the road to becoming the undisputed champion of the world. "I'm not obsessed like Vladimir," says the English giant who already has most of the belts which can fulfill his ambition. "I have an addiction which is fun, especially when I'm winning fights like I am now. And like I expect on Saturday." That is a prediction which demanded the 8 to 9 clarification. Not least because a 66% majority of Joshua's fellow Brits are taking the more generous odds of 5 to 1 for a Joseph Parker upset. Joshua remains the 1 to 9 favorite with Ladbrokes, but the bookies are feeling nervous about the money flowing onto the New Zealander who's lone WBO belt. AJ reassures them, "I've trained for 12 rounds but it won't go the distance. This is my life. Just my life. I didn't choose a career path after college or go to uni. I chose boxing. It's challenging, because part of the addiction is having to keep improving. In that necessity, he reverts to Klitschko again. I talk a lot to Vladimir's last trainer, Jonathan Banks. Talk about how even after a decade as world heavyweight champion Vladimir kept learning, kept improving his jab, quickening his movement. It's reminded me that in my era there is no room for mistakes. Even after 20 straight K0s I'm not satisfied." It also taught me about controlling these Medi conferences. During my stare down with Vladimir he suddenly said, "We've done this before so let's look away in 5.1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I did the same to Joseph today and he went along with it. Control, man. As for the betting patterns, the richest heavyweight champion of all time says, "If I had 20 pounds in my pocket, I would put it on Anthony Joshua to knock out Joseph Parker." Like our royal family, the British giant known as AJ keeps his wealth in the bank. With another £20 million or so coming his way, he too can afford to talk of himself in the third person. Mr. Joshua was addressing the world in general but Mr. Parker in particular. The courtesies were observed at the last media conference before they fight for each other's world titles in front of a near 80,000 crowd in Cardiff's Principality Stadium on Saturday night, but the basic message was curt. And when it came to elaborating, Joshua was cunning. Glancing up from his trio of belts he fixed his gaze on Parker and said, "Every fight is a blessing for me. Every fight has a reason in the long run. Joseph Parker is about to add something to my life journey. Presumably, that includes the WB0 belt which Parker brings with him to this argument. A trophy to which he is clinging with 2 arms, both of which needed elbow surgery shortly before Christmas." Joshua v Parker will be televised live on Sky Sports Box Office this Saturday night.